Hi, I'm Coach Michael Burt. To get a free copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, text 678-506-7543. Text to get a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, and I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature. All right. Good morning to you. My name's Coach Michael Burt. I know many of you probably saw me in, I want to say it was Dallas, Texas. Am I right about that? Was it Dallas, Texas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we spent a morning with each other, and over the course of this period, just like you, I've been constantly racking my brain about how do I stay in front of people, because a lot of my business is predicated on me getting out and getting in front of people, like I'm sure some of yours is. So I've been constantly thinking, what can I do to add value to people's lives? Not only add value to people's lives, but how do I stay in front of people? And so we've been doing a series of webinars, or what I would just consider coaching sessions. And I was on a coaching session on Saturday at a big conference that had 15,000 people that watched that conference. And so this is what we have to do in today's world, guys. We gotta figure out a way to win, right? And so I'm going to do a session today for you guys on how to convert fear into cash flow. How do you convert fear? And a lot of it has to do with the mindset that I've cultivated over my life. You may have remembered I was raised by a single mom in a small town in Tennessee, and that woman taught me, she instilled a very high prey drive in me. And we're going to come back and talk about activating your prey drive today. And she had certain rules, right? We don't whine, we don't complain, we don't make excuses. She wouldn't let me miss a day of school for the first 12 years of school. And man, I hated it. When I was going through it, I was like, come on, mama. I mean, why do I not get to miss school? And she said, no, son, we dress up, we show up, we grow up, and we deliver. And she was really conditioning me for times like these. She was really conditioning me for tough times. I define an adversity as a departure away from the ideal scene. We got a picture of how it's going to go, and it don't go the way we thought it was going to go. And when it doesn't go the way we thought it was going to go, I think you got two options. You can whine, complain, make excuses, or you can dig in and fight harder. Okay. And that's really the two types of people I've seen over the last couple of months that I've been a coach. Is I've seen one person that come out swinging, man, their back's against the wall, and they're going to find a way, right? They're going to find a way. Then I saw the other person that's just kind of contracted. We've got different people on our sales team. Some have performed incredibly well during this period. Their prey drive has been activated at a higher level. And we've got some that's just rolled over, laid down, just waiting on something to happen, right? And only you can make this mindset. Like, I can't make this mindset for you. So I want to give you some of my mindsets, and then I'm going to get into how we can sell at a higher frequency. I have a mindset that King David had in the Bible. If King David would have known how difficult it was going to be when he became king, he'd have probably said, you know what, don't sign me up for that, right? But he didn't. He had a mindset, and his mindset was this: it's going to be a fight, but dadgummit, we're going to find a way to win. It's going to be a fight. There's proper expectation. It's going to be a fight, but we're going to find a way to win. Notice the only year that King David got into trouble was when he didn't go into battle. And when he stayed at home, every year he went into battle, he was incredible. Every year he went into fight, he was incredible. Every year he showed up, he was incredible. Then he decides to stay home. That's when he sees old Bathsheba bathing on the top of the roof, and got himself into trouble because he wouldn't in the fight. Adults get themselves to trouble when they're not in the fight, guys. Adults get themselves to trouble when they get out of a routine, when they don't stick to their plan, when they alter their schedules, when they get away from doing what made them great. That's when we get ourselves into trouble. You know, I was a high school basketball coach for a decade, and I would tell you, kids get into trouble between 3 and 6 p.m. And you know why? Because they're unsupervised. Well, adults get into trouble when they have no accountability, when they get out of a routine, when they don't work a selling structure, when they don't prospect every day, when they don't follow up. So my mindset is that mindset of King David. It's going to be a fight, but we're going to find a way to win. Okay? It's going to be a fight, but we're going to find a way to win. These are 3 additional mindsets I have. Number 1, we go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. We don't go to bed well-fed and wake up lazy. We go to bed exhausted and we wake up hungry every day. Number 2, and this is one of my favorites, it all goes to zero at midnight. No matter how much you've produced, how many of you figured out during this period of time, no matter how much money you got, it ain't enough money? How many people figured that out? Listen, I never have less than $500,000 of cash. Never. Okay. Like that's my bottom line number that I always want to have in cash. And I would tell you that ain't even close to enough money during a period like this. And so what's the lesson that I've learned? You don't need just $500,000 of cash. You think I thought I was good having $500,000 of cash. And then I've got all these millions of dollars of real estate that I own. And let me tell you something, guys. What you figure out during periods like this is it ain't enough money, no matter how much money you got. So here's what you got to tell yourself. It all goes to zero at midnight. And let me tell you why that is. If you have that mindset, if it all goes to zero at midnight, you go to bed tired and you wake up hungry. You never get complacent. The biggest fight we're in right now in America is complacency. It's complacency. You may think it's against the coronavirus. There's 1,000 people that die every day of stress. Cardiovascular diseases. Where does stress come from? Work, right? Anxiety, fear. Fear creates stress. Stress creates worry. Worry creates dis-ease. Dis-ease kills 1,000 people a day, every day in the United States. From what? Just stressed out. Don't know where we're going to make money. Don't know what's going to happen next. The amount of pressure on us every single day. And so that's where it comes. So I have a philosophy. We go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. Okay. It all goes to zero at midnight. And the third concept is there comes a time when winter asks what we did all spring and summer. Now, I did an interview with this famous doctor in Houston, Texas. That's my doctor. And he owns a wellness center. And he's seen 41,000 people over the last 30 years. And in that interview, we're talking about the virus. We're talking about, and he keeps coming back to this concept of an immune system. And he talks about when you have a healthy immune system, your immune system fights off disease, fights off everything. But if you don't have a healthy immune system, you are susceptible. Now, what did we see in New York City of the patients that got coronavirus that went to the hospital? 93% had other diseases. 50-something% had hypertension, which is high blood pressure. X number percent had obesity. X number percent had this. Here's what it's basically saying. They didn't have healthy immune systems. Now, as he's talking about this during this interview, I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm listening to it, and I'm going, you know what? A business has an immune system. And that immune system is either healthy or unhealthy. Okay. What makes a healthy business immune system? So when you have a shock, when you have a thunderbolt, when you have a jolt of energy, when you have an unexpected outcome, when something doesn't work, how does your immune system fight it off? Okay. And I'm going to show you how we've tried to build a healthy immune system in just a second. Now, third concept is there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. Now, how many of you watched The Last Dance last night on Michael Jordan? Okay, any takeaways that? All right, Tim DeVar, when you watched that, what was your big takeaway? What was your business takeaway? Because I had a huge business takeaway last night about this concept of there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer, and how after they got beat by the Pistons multiple years, what did the Bulls do to come back and start winning? What was your takeaway?
My takeaway was they immediately went to work and started lifting and started getting themselves in shape so that they could be stronger than the Pistons, so that they could take that championship and not feel like it was entitled to them. They actually went and took it in a sweep.
That's right. And that was my takeaway, because what did we say? There comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. They knew that championships were not won during the season. They were won during the off season. Okay. Now, and what did they do? A new result requires a new preparation. You can't get a new result with an old way of thinking. See, their old way of thinking is we get beat by the Pistons, we go home. We take some time off, we come back, we get back, we get beat by the Pistons, we go home. And that cycle happened over and over until they finally said, no. This year in the off season, we're going to go back and prepare harder. We're going to get stronger. We're going to become mentally tougher. We're going to bond as a team. They had a new preparation, and the new preparation created a new response. You can't get a new response with an old preparation. When I was a coach, I would get beat by the same people every year, guys. I'd win 25 games. I'd get to the same place. I'd get beat by the same person. I'd go home. I'd blame everybody else, the players, the coaches. And then finally I said, could it be me that is keeping us from winning a championship. And I sat down with 6 championship coaches. When's the last time you sat down and picked the brain of somebody who's doing the same thing you're doing, but doing it at a much higher level than you? When's the last time you said, look, you're making $500,000 a year or $1 million a year, and I'm only making $200,000 a year. What are you doing that I'm not doing? What time do you wake up in the morning? How do you start your day off? How long do you prospect? How often do you engage with your clients? How do you explain your services? What's your follow-up system? How are you extracting referrals out of your current clients? Like, when's the last time you reached up to somebody who's doing it higher than you and go, hey, tell me, because what I'm doing ain't working. Sometimes we met the enemy, and the enemy's us, man. We are the problem. We can't get to the next level because we don't go looking for the information we need. So what I took away from that is something I want to tell you. What I did 90 days ago in my coaching business ain't working today. It ain't working. I can't keep doing the same thing, expect different results, man. I got to come up with some new way. Okay. Now, if I ask you right now, how much business is in your pipeline? How much business is currently in your pipeline right now? Because when I checked with my team this morning, I had 1.5 million in my pipeline, in my database of people who have opted in. Now, what does that tell me? There is no shortage of money. There is no shortage of opportunity. There is no shortage of leads. We're producing roughly 1,000 leads a month. The shortage is in conversion of those leads. The shortage is in getting a person to take action. Okay. So how do we get a person to take action? I want to give you a cycle. First, we've had to have some big revelation. What's our big aha moment about our product and service? And let me tell you why this is important. If a person is on the fence with taking action with you, you have to sell them on why they're going to be in a better place because of their relationship with you. It's not going to sell itself. And you can't sales flirt around it. You can't say, well, think about it, sleep on it, talk to so-and-so about it. Like because of your revelation, some big aha moment, you have to have a conviction. And what you're really selling is a conviction. What you're really selling is a belief. With me in your life, you're going to be in a lot better place. My sell to the people I coach is simple. With me as your coach, you're going to make a lot more money. I can show you countless people that make a lot more money that I coach. I can show you people that were making $80,000 a year that are now making $80,000 a month. Okay. I have a conviction. You have to have this deep conviction when you're selling a person, because that's what you're really selling. You're selling a core belief. You're a person of advancement. You're giving the impression of increase. Of all the people you could buy, I'm the number one person you need on your team. Now, because of your revelation and your conviction, you now are willing to take action. Okay. You're now willing to take action, which means what? Now, if I were asking you what a good day is, okay, John Stafford, I'm going to call on you, big guy. What's a good day as it relates to, what's a good day for you that you go home at night and say, man, dang it, it was a good day today. I prospected like I should. I followed up like I should. I closed business like I should. How would you define a good day when it comes to sales? I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. All right. I can see you, but I can't hear you, big guy. See if there's a button on your. All right, John, I'm going to come back to you. Okay. Because I can tell you got some. Don Grove, did you raise your hand? You say, give me a good day, big guy.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I did raise my hand. So a good day for me is 3 appointments, 3 sales, 100% close on one day, probably a minimum of 2 referrals per customer sold, make those 6 phone calls and set another appointment for the next day. That's a good day for Don.
All right. Now, how often do you achieve a day like that?
That's probably 3 or 4 times a month, maybe if I'm lucky.
Okay.
That would be a good month if that happened 4 times in a month.
Okay, good. All right. Now I want to take that right there. And this is very important. So I'm glad. Thank you for saying that. If you've ever read the book, Stephen Pressfield did a whole series on a book called Go Pro, Do the Work, The War of Art. And what he talks about in that book is he talks about at some point in his life, he made a decision to leave his amateur desires behind and go pro. Okay. And when he went pro, it's like, I'm going pro in every area of my life, the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit. Like I'm going to leave my amateur desires behind and I'm going to go pro. Now, to what Don was saying right there, his version of go pro may be if he has 4 days like that a month, how does he get it to 6 days a month? If he's closing 3 people a day, how does he close 4 people? Okay. So going pro is like flipping the switch. It's like going to another frequency. Okay. Now take this concept. If I coach a lot of insurance people, and many times the insurance people I coach, it takes an hour for them to make a close, and they close 2 to 3 people per day, but they're wasting 3 or 4 hours a day many times in what I call low value activity, non-money generating activity. Things they do during the day has nothing to do with producing money. Okay. And here was my sale to them. If you go pro and you just get back one of those hours you're wasting in non-revenue producing activity, and you close one more deal a day, you move from closing 2 to 3. You are now closing 3 deals a day, right? One more deal a day, 5 more deals a week, 20 more deals a month. You're closing 240 more deals a year. And what is that worth to you when you close 240 more deals a year? They say, oh my gosh, Coach Burt, here's the deal. All you got to get is one more day. I try to get my salespeople to $5,000 a day in sales. 5,000 a day is 20,000 a week, right? 5,000 a day, 25,000 a week, it's 100,000 a month, it's $1.2 million of commissionable income. If I just get them to 5,000 a day, just one more sale, just get to 5, just get to 5, just get to 5. I don't care how you get to 5, just get to 5. Okay. So have you had revelation? Do you have conviction? And are you willing to do whatever it takes? Now we have a different business than you. We make about 80 calls a day. And you say, well, why do we make 80 calls a day? Because I believe in the law of diffusion. And the law of diffusion tells me that when you present an idea to another person, roughly 16% of people will be open and inviting to that idea. There will be 34% of people that need to hear it 3 to 7 times. There will be another 34% of people, late majority, need to see it 7 to 15 times. And there will be 16% of people that ain't never gonna see it. They're called laggards. So the reason we make 80 phone calls a day is because we believe for every 30 phone calls we make, there'll be 4.8 people who'll be interested. Okay, 4.8 people off every 30. So when you're making outbound efforts, you may ask yourself, can I even get to my numbers making the number of calls that I make, making the number of touches that I make? I also believe that many times it takes 7 to 15 touches, 80% of the time, to convert a prospect to a client. Okay. Which is why we need a great 7-touch system. I'm closing some deals today or this week that I've been working on for the last year. Okay. And it's just that constant flow of keeping their attention, staying in your face. And I write about that in a book called $1 Million Follow-Up. Okay. So when you think about this concept, let me go through a schedule that I have that may give you some structure. Okay. I think confusion is randomness in motion. I think a lot of people are confused about their business. The purpose of the business is to generate new customers. Okay. So here's how we do it in our office. I meet with my team every morning at 8:30. And during that call, I got one objective: to try to inspire them. Today's lesson was in how do you convert a hurt feeling into an immediate action. That was my lesson today. When you get your feelings hurt, do you whine? Do you pout? Do you feel sorry for yourself? But what do big time people do? They convert a hurt feeling into an immediate action. They ain't got time to feel sorry for themselves. So they take their feelings and they get hurt. Then they get their feelings hurt and they, boom, they do something with it. They use the fear as fuel. They use the hurt feeling as fuel. They don't use the hurt feeling to whine, which is what most people do. Okay. So at 8:30, I meet with my team for 20 minutes. Number one purpose of that, get them excited because they're going into battle, right? They're going to make 40 calls this morning. Okay. 9 o'clock on the dot, we go into outbound effort where we do nothing but focus on new money from 9 to 11:30. I do not mix activities, meaning if you like Neapolitan ice cream Neapolitan ice cream is chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. You don't mix it all together. Okay. Well, I don't like mixing activities together. In the morning, we're focused on nothing but new money. New money, new money, new money, new money. We break for lunch at 11:30. We meet again at 12:30. Guess what we're doing at 12:30? Trying to get them excited again. Trying to get them excited again. At 1 o'clock, we go back to focusing on new money, but during the afternoon, we can love on old money, meaning we can call current clients, our top 25. We can follow up. We can try to extract referrals. We can engage with their current customer base. Okay, and we do that to typically 4:30. We meet again at 4:45 and we take stock. Okay, just like in the Bible, it talks about we devour in the morning and we divide the spoils in the evening. So every day at 4:45, we break and we sit down and we go, okay, what did you hit today? What did you sell today? And every day, every salesperson has to turn in what they sold that day in relationship to their numbers. Okay, in relationship to their numbers. This is a rhythm. We make 80 calls a day, 16% will be interested. We track the number of calls we make. We track talk times, and then we see, is it roughly 16%? And almost every day it is, guys. So if we make 80 phone calls, we get X number, 10 people on the phone. Out of the 10, it's roughly 16%, 1.6 or 2 of them are interested in our services. That's the kind of volume that we're working right there, okay? Now, any questions you want to ask before I move to the next step? This is a mindset of offense. Okay. Don, you good? Jeremy, you good up there? All right, good. Now, when I was a basketball coach, the way I won so many games is I believe a good offense could always make up for a bad defense. I believe the best defense was to be on offense. Okay. And if we scored 90 points a night, I knew we're going to win a high percentage of our games. If we scored 40 points a night, we're going to get beat. So I had a rule. I want to get the ball to the midline in less than 2.3 seconds. We practice how fast we got it out of the net, pitched it to the point guard, pitch it ahead, and we just attack. Just like a cheetah. Just like we're coming at you every second. And then I started my business. I retired from athletic coaching, at 31, and I started my coaching business. And I go, first thing I said is, man, I don't have a good offensive plan here. I'm reactive. I'm waiting on things to happen. I'm just kind of right. It kind of violates all my principles that made me a championship coach. And I started going, what does playing offense look like in my business? Well, here's what it looks like. Every day I come into the day, I got a hit list of people I'm calling on. And the hit list represents people that I can help with my services. There is no shortage of people for you to call on. There is only a shortage of initiative. There's only a shortage of courage. There's only a shortage of effort or creativity. There is no shortage of money. Okay? There is no shortage of money. Okay? I have a good friend during this period who has a lot more guts than I do. He invested $10 million into a company. He had $9.2 million. He took every bit of his cash out, put it into a new company that buys masks, all those things that handle COVID. And I think he'll make $1 billion during this period. And he called me early on to be an investor. And he said, Coach, would you like to invest in this? And I said, yeah, it's sketchy. I don't know. And so the other night he called me and he said, Coach, I got one sentence for you. He who hesitates always finishes last. He said, so when I make $1 billion, he said, if you'd have just gave me $200,000, Coach, he said, you probably had 30 or 40 million bucks now. He said, you hesitated because you didn't believe me and you didn't take action. And what can I say? I did hesitate. I did. I missed out. I didn't do it. Didn't take action. And he's probably going to make $1 billion, literally $1 billion. Now, I don't have the guts he does because he took every bit of cash he had and put it into that. All $9.2 million. He showed me his bank statement because I didn't believe him. And he did it. Now, what's the point of there? There is no shortage of opportunity in the world. There's a shortage of courage. And I've had some of that shortage in my lifetime. There's a shortage of action. There's a shortage of guts. There's a shortage of belief, shortage of conviction. That's the shortage. So every day I come into the day, I got a whole list. If you could see it on my iPad, I got a whole list of people called a hit list. And the hit list are anybody on planet Earth that I believe I can help. Anybody. Any strategic partner I think can help me. Any past client that we've sold something to in the past that we could go back to. Any lead that we've ever generated. Okay? Because here's what I suspect. If I got on the phone with every person in my database that represents that 1.5 million of money in the pipeline or people interested, I guarantee you I could close more people than my salespeople could. Why? Because I got a lot more confidence than they do. I got a lot more courage than they do. I got a lot more guts. I got a lot more experience. It's not that they're bad and I'm good. It's just I have a lot more experience than they do. Okay? So there's no shortage of money. There's a shortage of going and getting that money. So every day I start off with a hit list. These are people I believe I can help, and that are direct leads, current clients, past clients, strategic partners. Those are who I'm calling on every day. So when I was doing these, I said, hey, call Brad Hyder, see if we can do something for the TEKTONE folks. That's a hit list call, right? Because it put me back in front of you guys. Gave me an opportunity to get in front of you and show you my value. Okay? That's a hit list phone call, strategic partner. I went to anybody who had a team of people and said, I'll do a free coaching session for them. Let me just get in front of them. This is my concept of prospecting right here, getting in front of people. Okay? Second group I've got every day is what's called my farm club. And my farm club represents people who have indicated interest in my services, but I haven't closed them. They are people who have raised their hand and said they're interested in a product or service, but I haven't closed them. Now, how many touches are we going to go with those people? I believe 7 to 15 touches. That's okay. But here's the problem. You can't go back at people the same way every time. So I have two types of touches. A linear touch, which is direct. Gina, have you seen enough to make a decision? John Thompson, I can't help you till you commit. Devin Lowe, right? Are you ready to go? Okay, because we lose 10% of momentum every day you don't take action. This is just a game of momentum. Let's just keep momentum. Let's just keep momentum. Let's just keep momentum. Okay? So that's a direct linear touch. The second type of touch I have is called a nonlinear touch or indirect touch. I may say, Debbie Taylor, let me give you 2 examples of other people I've coached or worked with just like you that we increased their sales by 40%. I'm going to send you a video. Watch the video. Let's talk this afternoon. That's an indirect touch, a non-linear touch. Okay, I may say, David Carnes, I'm going to shoot you this video. I'm going to send you this video, and we use lots of video touches. I'm going to shoot you this video, and I want you to watch the video of how I break down the follow-up. And if we helped you get better at your follow-up, do you think you can make a lot more money? Call me back tomorrow, and we'll talk about it. That's an indirect touch. So I go 3 indirects for every direct. I go 3 indirects for every direct until I go to 7. Now, when I go to 7, here's what I say. Jeremy, have you noticed how hard I've worked to earn your business? Has anybody else worked this hard? And what's Jeremy typically say? Right? No. Nobody else has worked this hard, which gives you the opportunity to say what? It seems like you want to do this, but you're stuck on one thing. How do we get you across the finish line? Everybody see that? Like, it allows you on touch number 7 to address the objection. Okay, it seems like you want to do this. It sounds like this is the right plan. Let me just ask you a question, Jeremy. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you, man? Because we've worked hard to get you business, but it seems like you're at a 4. And sometimes they'll come back and say, no, we're at a 7. We just need a little bit more time. We're stuck on this one thing. All you can do, don't miss this. All you can control is your ask. You can't control the response. All you can control is your stimulus. You can't control their response to your stimulus. So today I'm going to pitch a few deals to people after this. One of them is a $75,000, $80,000 deal. All they can do is come back and say, no, we can't do it. All they can do is say, we want to do something, but we can't do this much right now. That's all they can do. I can't control their response. All I can control is my stimulus. Okay? So in the farm club, there's a word here called a consideration. All right? And a consideration, I live in Tennessee, and I was always raised to be considerate, right? And that's, be considerate. I call it my sweet tea and apple pie version. But sweet tea and apple pie people skirt around the truth. Are you ready to go? Let me send you a proposal. Take a look at it. Talk about it with your team. Let your administrator get involved. All these things, okay? That's sweet tea and apple pie. What I say is, man, I can't help you till you commit, but once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Now, if I could help you like I've helped all these other people, what would stop us from doing this right now? Because you do want to do it, don't you? Now, I used to have considerations. What if that's too strong? What if that's too aggressive? What if they say no? What if they say lose my number? Here's what I would tell you. Would you rather know in 15 seconds or would you rather chase somebody for 15 months? Because we chase people for 15 months, sales flirting with them. They don't really want to buy your product or service. They ain't really interested in what you're doing. You just believe they are. Would you not rather know up front? I ask people this question. Kevin Darnell, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this? Because I only work with serious people. If he says, well, I'm at a 3, and I said, okay, it don't seem like we need to go forward with each other because you ain't there yet. So instead of trying to convince you to get there, when you get there, you call me back, Kevin, and we'll keep going, okay? Because I'm only looking for people that are looking for me. 7 billion people on planet Earth. Okay, I don't know how many people were in Dallas, Texas when we're there, but there's a bunch. I go to Houston every month. There's 6 million people in Houston, Texas. There is no shortage of money in Texas. There is a shortage of people going out and getting that money. Okay, now, so I got a hit list. I got a farm club, and my third group I got is what I call my top 25. Okay, now I want you to think of a top 25 as a feeder system. I want you to think of 25 real strong relationships who feed you business. And I want you to think about what you do to stay in those people's faces so they're always thinking about you. Okay? I touch typically 3 of my top 25 every day. I touch 3 of my top 25 every day. I was just coaching 2 guys that managed $6 billion of money out of Houston, Texas, right before I got on with you. And I'm trying to help them grow. They typically only pick up 1 new client a month. That's 12 clients a year. We've been able to move them to 3 new clients a month. So that's a net gain of 24 new clients in 1 year, just by helping them stay focused, just by giving them this system. And here's what I said. I said, how many feeder systems do you currently have? One of them said, well, I got 3 feeder systems. And I said, how often do you stay in touch with those feeder systems? How much love do you give those feeder systems? How much emotional support do you give those feeder systems? How much time and energy do you give those feeder systems? Because here's my rule. If they're not thinking about you, if you're not talking to them, they're not thinking about you. If you're not thinking about you, they're not talking about you. They're not talking about you, there's no referrals. Where there's no engagement, there is no referral. Okay? Where there's no engagement, there is no referral. So these people could be your past clients. They could be people you've serviced in the past. So when I come into the day and I've got my 9 to 11:30 prospecting time, remember, I'm not mixing my ice cream together. I'm not mixing that chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla together. It's nothing but new money from 9 to 11:30. Okay? During that period, I'm totally focused. That's going to the gym for my business. I'm working the muscle. I'm calling on people. I'm uncovering rocks. Okay? Because I never know where the potential is going to be. Everybody with me here? Okay? Remember, as kids, we went out and we would pick up rocks to see what was underneath the rock. You never know where potential is going to be when you go out uncovering rocks. Do you know some of the biggest deals I've ever closed came from some of the most unlikely places? How many of y'all can attest to that? It just happened. You know why it happened? You just out there uncovering rocks, man. You making phone calls. You're like, man, there is no wasted movement during this period, guys. Just like Michael Jordan focused on how he pivoted and how he shot and how many times he practiced. Listen, there is no wasted movement. So some people are going to be like, well, why am I making any phone calls right now? Nobody's buying anything. That's a consideration. That's a consideration that you got. Because there's some people spending millions of dollars right now. There's some people making millions of dollars right now. You just ain't got to work the muscle, okay? There is no wasted movement. So from 9 to 11:30, guess what I'm doing? Current clients, hit list, farm club, top 25. All right, let me stop there and take some questions because I'm talking a lot and I talk real fast. Anybody have any questions on this system that I'm working?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Tracy.
Thank you. So do we get a recording of this video? Because I'm making notes. But yes, you do talk fast. I'm missing stuff. So can I get a copy of this?
Yep. Now let me tell you how.
I'd love to listen to this between my 8 and 8:30 get up, because it would motivate me greatly to.
Yep. Now I'm gonna do you one more. I'm gonna do you a solid. All right. If everybody will take this number down, 678-506-7543. If you will text this code in, monster exclamation. Okay, and I'm gonna record this so my assistant knows. All right, if you will text this code in, this is the TEKTONE group mail, monster exclamation to this number. There's two things I'm going to do for you. I'm going to send you a recording of this presentation, and I will give you a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. Okay? I will give you a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. And I will give you a recording of this presentation.
That's fantastic.
Now, the only thing you need to know, in full disclosure, is all you have to pay for if you want the book is the shipping. Okay, so I don't want somebody called in the other day all pissed off at me because I said I was going to give them the book, and I did, but they didn't want to pay for the shipping. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to move in with you for free? Somebody's got to ship the book. Okay, so if you want the book, I think you pay for the shipping. If you don't want the book, don't take it. But I will give everybody who opts in the recording of this. Okay, I am recording it. Fair enough. All right, where do we break down? Okay, Devin Lowe, can you turn your microphone on? Okay, I'm gonna call on a few folks here that ain't showing you guys at home working in your pajamas. David Carnes, what's up? There you go, Devin. I can hear you now. Devin, where do you think you're breaking down right now in the sales cycle?
I would say organizational skills.
Okay. Do you have a time system that you're using? Do you see how structured the time system I'm using is?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. The reason I use that system, Devin, is because I noticed one day, it was a Friday at my office, and I noticed a lot of confusion in my employees. And here's the confusion. These two were talking to these two. This one was talking to this one, and they were really distracting each other. And I said, look, it's clear to me that y'all have lost focus on what the purpose of this business is. The purpose of this business is to generate revenue, i.e. to pay your salaries. And so what I need you to do is I'm going to give you a system. 8:30 we meet, 9 to 11:30, this is what you do. 12:30, this is what we do. 1 to 4:30, this is what we do. There's no confusion. I don't want you distracting each other. Okay, so hopefully that system I gave you will give you the organization that you need there. All right, John Stafford, what about you? Where are you falling off the wagon?
Okay, I think I'm good. Hey, Coach Brad, I've seen you in Knoxville, by the way, with Butch Hoffenberg. I don't know if you remember Butch.
Oh, yeah, of course I do.
Anyway.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah. So I feel like for me, probably is the organization and being prepared. I like the time slot. I like the time blocking. I think having the list in advance would be a big help.
Okay. Now, when you get where do you get your leads from, John?
A lot of what I've been doing right now is I've been going after new construction and new businesses.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of people, they're going to be open. They're going to want to open. They got to have something. So whenever all this stuff breaks, there's people out there buying today. I just don't know about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So a lot of existing businesses, it's hard to go in because there's nobody there. But the people that do businesses, there's people there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want you to, so just remember, I've seen some people have this consideration that nobody's buying. I've seen other people say, don't matter. That's a response to my stimulus. All I can do is make the phone call. All I can do is work the muscle. All I can do is make the outbound effort. See, the concept of the hit list is when I come into the day, I'm not waiting on something to happen. I'm creating something happen. I believe an object at rest stays at rest unless acted on by an outside force. That's Newton's law. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by an outside force. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the sail. That makes sense. Okay, I'm going to create the sail. All right, let's close it up with this. I noticed we had a few people drop off. Hey, they're going to miss the best part. One of these periods, I want to show you. One of the things I'm writing a book on right now is how to activate the prey drive in a person. And the prey drive is an instinctual ability to fight. It's primal. It is in you, but maybe it's not been activated, or maybe it's been deactivated. Okay, and what happens is we become complacent. We're dynamic, and then we move to a point where we're static. We're stuck. We're bored. We're in a rut. Something has to come along to flip that switch, to reactivate that drive. Okay? Losing did it for Jordan. He hated to lose more than he loved winning, right? It activated his prey drive. It's like something has to happen to activate that drive in you so that you can produce, right? Now, in all my research, I've studied every motivational model there is, and of course, I have 28 years of coaching experience. I want to give you 5 things that I think activate your drive. And I want you to understand, okay? You to understand how to convert something into something, how to convert fear into fuel, how to convert fear into cash flow. And I'm going to just go through them real quick, then we'll get you out of here. Number 1 is competition. Competition can activate prey drive. And if you have no competition, it's kind of like you out there in La La Land or out in the world, right? Like you need to be competing versus something. There's good and evil. There's a fight you need to pick. There's David and Goliath. There's right. Like you need to have that underdog mentality. We have something to prove. We have a chip on our shoulder. We're competing versus the world. Okay. Number 2, fear of loss is an activator of prey drive. And that comes under a lot of things. Okay. Now, let me give you a real life example that happened to me. On Saturday, I was speaking on this big conference. And I thought I was going to have 40 or 45 minutes. Then they kind of came back at the last minute and said, no, you only have 15 minutes because we have these 2 big names, right? We got these 2 big name people. And Coach Burt, you're a star, but you're just a little baby star. So instead of giving you 40 minutes, we're going to give you 15 minutes. And man, I was hurt. I had been preparing for this for weeks. I was excited. I had my presentation down to the second. I knew exactly. And at first, my feelings were hurt. And it's like, but I said, I ain't got time to feel sorry for myself. What do I need to do? I need to convert this hurt feeling into action. And I need to be so damn good in my 15 minutes that they can't ignore me. I want to be so impactful that they walk out of there going, dang, who's that little bald-headed dude? Right? Like that's how good I need to be. And I got good and mad, guys. And I converted that anger or that hurt into a dynamic 15 minutes, right? Which was the best thing I could do. And I made a note, convert a hurt feeling. How do you convert a hurt feeling into action? That's the best use of a hurt feeling. How many of y'all got your feelings hurt before and stayed down for 3 months? See, I was coaching my own self on Saturday, guys. I'm like, I got to convert this hurt feeling into movement right now. And man, I was so proud of my own self because I gave it 15 minutes of great energy, and I walked out of there feeling like, man, I couldn't have been any better than I was. Could I be better? Of course I was, but I was 100% satisfied with my performance. And that activated my prey drive. It's the craziest thing in the world. That hurt feeling got a new drive in me. I was like, let's go. Let's do this. I'm going to show you what I got. Thank you for hurting my feelings. Thank you for only giving me 15 minutes. Now I'm good and mad. And I really wasn't mad. I was just hurt. So fear of loss, fear of losing something, fear of losing your reputation, fear of losing the money you generated, fear of losing your house is not a bad thing. Fear can be the number 1 driver of prey drive in the world, guys. Number 3, environment. This is one of the reasons I want to really encourage you to give a strong look at my coaching program. You need to be in an environment where somebody's holding you accountable every week. You need to get stimulus from somebody who's a professional. You need to be in a community of people because environment can activate prey drive. A good coach A good coach can activate that drive. Like if today activated your drive, that's good. But what happens next week? And what happens the week after that? And what happens the week after that? What happens the week after that? Left to our own devices, we all contract. Means we get lazy, we get comfortable, we get complacent, we revert back to our old patterns. It's easy when you got a coach in your face pushing you, but when the coach is not there, what do? Okay, I always hear people say, well, what, are you going to hold me accountable? Like, will you call me every week? And I'm like, well, what's going to happen the other 167 hours in a week when I'm not with you? You need a structure. So environment is an activator of prey drive. And what I do is I give people coaching every Monday. Then I give them coaching every Tuesday, Thursday. Then I send a strategy to them every Wednesday. Then I send them something every Sunday night. Then I pump out all this content to them. What I'm trying to do is keep them going, keep them moving. Number 4, activator of prey drive, exposure. Exposure. This is one of my favorite ones. I grew up not poor, but not wealthy, very low middle class. We never vacationed anywhere. The nicest hotel we stayed in was the Best Western because it had an indoor swimming pool. We went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, right, John? If you know where that's at, out there close to Knoxville. We stayed in the same place every single year. It wasn't a bad thing, but I was never exposed to Nashville. I was never exposed to Chicago. I was never exposed to New York City, Miami, LA. I never saw anything. And when I started to see the world, I started to go, this is it, man. It's a big planet. There's so much more opportunity than right here. Let's go dominate the world. Let's not dominate just our backyard. So exposure to something opens your eyes. Okay. First time you drive in a nice car, you're like, man, I didn't know cars were this nice. First time you stay in a nice hotel, you're like, man, I didn't know they had hotels like this. First time you go on a good vacation or eat a good steak, it's like, man, I didn't know they made steaks this good. It exposes you to something. Now, here's the deal. You never want to go back. How many of y'all agree with that? Okay. You never want to go back. Once you've been exposed to something, you never want to go back, guys. So what I got, like me, I sat in on a deal the other night where a guy was doing a $500 million deal. It blew my mind. It totally blew my mind. He said, I want you to sit in on this deal. He gave me a Zoom link. He said, don't say a word and don't turn your camera on. Just sit and listen. And I was listening to the magnitude of this deal. And I went home and I told my wife, I'm like, man, I've never heard anything like this before. Like, this was crazy. Listening, sitting in on how they were doing this deal was crazy. But you know what? It opened my eyes. There are big deals out there to be had, and somebody's having them, and somebody's got the confidence to have. It exposed me to bigger think. So I came in the next day and I told my team, there ain't no shortage of money. There's a shortage of confidence, guys. That's the shortage you guys got. That's the shortage I got. Number 5, activator of prey drive is embarrassment. And I don't embarrass people, but there's so many scenarios I've walked away going, man, I'm so embarrassed by the level I'm playing at compared to my potential. I'm so embarrassed by where I'm at versus where I'm capable of being. That's the kind of embarrassment. Quit comparing yourself to the person in your city or in your county or in your state. Start comparing yourself to the number 1 person on the planet. That's who you ought to start comparing yourself. And if they could do it, by George, you can do it. That's the kind of thing. Now, what happens when this drive is there? Your vim and vigor. The Bible talks about having a vim and vigor. That's an enthusiasm. That's an offensive position versus defensive, okay? So let me close by saying this. I believe you owe it to yourself to find the driver that does it for you guys. I believe you owe it to yourself to drive your potential. And I believe you owe it to yourself to come in and play offense every day versus defense. That's my personal belief. I also believe everybody needs good coach in life. So as we close it out today, if I've been talking to you and you know I can help you, okay, I'll just tell you our coaching program is $1,497 for an entire year. You can get a full year for under $1,500, and we'll put that into some payments for you. If you want to get 2 years, it's $2,497 for 2 full years of coaching. That's 730 days of me being your coach. And it's $3.42 a day. We'll put that into payments. Plus, I give you a 2-day boot camp with me at my lodge in Tennessee. Okay, that's a lot of coaching for a little bitty amount of money. And if we don't make all that money back, something's bad wrong, guys. What we should see is you should take that small investment in you, not in me, and you should multiply that. Okay. I think if you don't make 50, 60, 70,000 more from what I'm teaching you, something's bad wrong. Typical returns about 43%. If I can help you get a 43% in 1 year cycle, then I want to encourage you. Take action on this, man. So when we send you the stuff, you can email me at coach@coachburt.com. coach@coachburt.com. And if you just want to talk about your business, we'll schedule a strategy session where we'll just talk to see what the right thing is for you. Okay. But I strongly urge you, if you know you have a bigger engine and a bigger potential, I want you to consider letting me be your coach and really let me feed this into you every day and every week, not just once every now and then. Fair enough? All right. Make sure you text in. If you want to talk to me, coach@coachburt.com. We'll schedule a time. If you text in and want to get the book, all you guys pay for the shipping. But my assistant, Melissa, will email every one of you the recording of this. And I thank you for the best thing you gave me, man, is your time. I really enjoy coaching you guys.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Hi, I'm Coach Michael Burt, and the #1 book that I've written over the last couple of years that could help you during these unusual times is a book I wrote called Inside the Mind of a Monster. Now, I want to give you that book. All you have to do is text 678-506-7543, because when you text that in, I'm going to give you a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, and it's going to show you the habits and mindsets of top producers and how they attack every single day versus play defense. Don't you want to play offense? Get this book. I'm giving it to you, and I'm telling you, I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature.